The sound of tiny sobs echoing from the bathroom made Elena's heart shatter into a million pieces. She pressed her ear against the door and heard her 5-year-old daughter Lily whispering to herself, "Maybe if I was prettier, he would have loved us more." Those words hit Elena like a physical blow. She had thought Lily was too young to understand what had happened between her and Lily's father. She had thought she had protected her daughter from the worst of it. But children see everything, hear everything, and feel everything their parents try to hide. Elena slumped against the bathroom door, her own tears flowing freely now. 6 months ago, she had discovered that her husband Jason had been cheating on her for over a year. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what he had said when she confronted him. "Look at yourself, Elena," he had sneered, his voice dripping with disgust. "You got fat after having the kid. You're boring. You work all the time. What did you expect? And that daughter of yours, she's always whining and getting in the way. I never wanted to be a father anyway." Elena had stood there in shock, holding their sleeping daughter in her arms after a nightmare that had sent Lily running to their bedroom. Jason hadn't even bothered to lower his voice. He hadn't cared that his own child might hear him. "You're nothing special, Elena," he had continued, gathering his clothes. "You should be grateful I stayed as long as I did. No other man is going to want you with all your baggage." That night, Elena had packed their things while Jason slept on the couch, drunk from celebrating his freedom. She had taken Lily and left their house, their life, and their city behind. She had thought she was protecting Lily from the pain of a broken home. But now, listening to her daughter cry, she realized the damage was already done. "Mama?" Lily's small voice came through the door. "Can I come out now?" Elena quickly wiped her tears and opened the door. Lily stood there with her dark curls messy from crying, her big brown eyes red and swollen. She looked so small in her pink pajamas, so vulnerable and hurt. "Come here, baby," Elena whispered, scooping Lily into her arms. She carried her to the couch in their tiny apartment and held her close. "Did I do something wrong, Mama?" Lily asked, her voice so quiet Elena had to strain to hear it. "Is that why Daddy left us?" The question broke Elena's heart all over again. How do you explain to a 5-year-old that some people are just cruel? How do you tell your child that the person who was supposed to love and protect her had rejected her before she was even born? "No, sweetheart," Elena said firmly, tilting Lily's chin up so she could look into her eyes. "You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all. Daddy made bad choices, but that has nothing to do with you. You are perfect exactly as you are." "But he said dash." "He was wrong," Elena interrupted gently but firmly. "Sometimes grown-ups say mean things when they're angry or scared. But that doesn't make those things true. You are the most beautiful, smart, funny little girl in the whole world, and I am so lucky to be your mama." Lily snuggled closer to Elena's chest. "Will another daddy ever want us?" The question hung in the air like a weight. Elena had been asking herself the same thing for months. Jason's words echoed in her head every day. Who would want a 28-year-old single mother with a child and a job that barely paid enough to cover rent? Who would want someone with stretch marks and tired eyes and a heart that had been broken so badly she wasn't sure it would ever work right again? "I don't know, baby," Elena said honestly. "But I know that we have each other and that's enough. We don't need anyone else to be happy." But even as she said the words, Elena wondered if they were true. She looked around their small apartment, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that was barely big enough for 2 people. The walls were thin and she could hear their neighbors fighting next door. This wasn't the life she had dreamed of for herself or her daughter. Before Jason, Elena had been a registered nurse at a good hospital. She had owned a house, had savings, had plans for the future. But the divorce had taken everything. Jason's lawyer had been better than hers, and somehow he had managed to keep most of their assets while she got stuck with the debt. She had been forced to take a job at a small clinic that paid half what she used to make. Some nights, after Lily was asleep, Elena would lie in bed and wonder if Jason had been right. Maybe she wasn't worth loving. Maybe she was damaged goods now. Maybe the best she could hope for was to raise Lily alone and try to give her daughter a better life than the one she had. "Mama?" Lily's voice broke through Elena's dark thoughts. "Yes, baby? When I grow up, I want to be just like you. You're the strongest person I know." Elena felt fresh tears prick her eyes, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of determination. Her daughter saw her as strong and maybe that was enough. Maybe she could be strong enough for both of them. "I love you, Lily," Elena whispered into her daughter's hair. "More than anything in this whole world. I love you too, Mama." As Elena held her daughter close, she made a silent promise. She would never let anyone hurt Lily the way Jason had hurt them both. She would build a good life for them, just the 2 of them. She didn't need a man to complete their family. They were complete already. But deep down, in a part of her heart she tried to ignore, Elena still wondered what it would be like to be loved the right way. To be cherished instead of criticized. To be seen as beautiful instead of burden. She pushed those thoughts away. Love was a luxury she couldn't afford. Protection was more important than passion. Safety was more valuable than romance. Elena had no way of knowing that in just 2 weeks, everything would change. She had no idea that a chance encounter in a hospital waiting room would challenge everything she believed about love, trust, and second chances. She had no idea that the most difficult test of her life was still to come. 2 weeks later, Elena stood in front of the mirror in the small staff bathroom at Mercy General Hospital, trying to make herself look professional. She had gotten the job here just 3 days ago, and she was determined to make a good impression. The pay was better than her old clinic job, and the hours would allow her to spend more time with Lily. The morning had started well. Lily had been excited about starting at a new daycare center near the hospital. She had picked out her own clothes, a purple dress with sparkles, and had chatted happily about making new friends during the drive over. "Will you pick me up today, Mama?" Lily had asked as Elena signed her in. "Yes, baby. I get off work at 4, so I'll be here by 4:30. Promise?" "Promise." Elena smiled at the memory as she adjusted her scrubs. Lily was resilient in a way that amazed her. Despite everything they had been through, her daughter still approached each new day with hope and excitement. Maybe Elena could learn something from that attitude. The morning shift was busy but manageable. Elena was assigned to the cardiac wing, and she fell into the familiar rhythm of checking on patients, administering medications, and updating charts. It felt good to be using her skills again in a real hospital setting. Around lunchtime, she was walking down the hallway when she heard raised voices coming from one of the patient rooms. "Mr. Thompson, you need to stay in bed," a young doctor was saying, frustration clear in his voice. "I feel fine," came the gruff reply. "I want to go home. You had a heart attack yesterday. You're not fine." Elena paused outside the room. She had dealt with difficult patients before, and she recognized the signs of someone who was scared and trying to cover it with anger. She knocked gently on the door frame. "Excuse me, Dr. Williams? Is everything okay here?" The young doctor turned to her with relief in his eyes. "Nurse Johnson, this is Mr. Thompson. He's insisting on leaving against medical advice." Elena looked at the patient, a man in his 60s with gray hair and worried eyes. She could see past his bluster to the fear underneath. "Mr. Thompson," she said gently, moving to his bedside. "I'm Elena. Can you tell me what's worrying you about staying here?" The old man's tough expression softened slightly. "My dog," he said quietly. "She's been alone since yesterday. She's old and she needs her medicine. There's nobody else to take care of her." Elena's heart went out to him. She understood what it felt like to worry about someone you loved. "What's your dog's name?" she asked. "Rosie. She's a golden retriever. Had her for 12 years. That's a long time. She must be very special to you." Mr. Thompson's eyes filled with tears. "She's all I got left since my wife died. I can't leave her alone." Elena looked at Dr. Williams, who was watching the interaction with interest. She had an idea. "Mr. Thompson, what if we could arrange for someone to check on Rosie? Would you be willing to stay and get the treatment you need if we could make sure she's okay?" The old man looked hopeful for the first time. "You could do that?" "Let me make some calls," Elena said. "There are volunteer services that help people in situations like this. But I need you to promise me you'll stay and let us take care of you. If Rosie's okay, I'll stay." Elena spent her lunch break making phone calls. She found a pet care service that could check on Rosie and make sure she got her medicine. When she told Mr. Thompson, he actually smiled. "Thank you," he said, gripping her hand. "I don't know how to repay you." "Just focus on getting better," Elena replied. "Rosie needs you healthy." As Elena left Mr. Thompson's room, she felt something she hadn't experienced in months: job satisfaction. She had made a difference in someone's day. She had used her skills not just to treat a patient's body, but to ease his mind. "That was impressive," a voice said behind her. Elena turned to see a tall man in an expensive-looking suit standing near the elevator. He had dark hair, kind eyes, and a smile that seemed genuine. He looked like he was in his early 30s, and there was something about his presence that commanded attention without being arrogant. "Excuse me?" Elena said. "What you did for Mr. Thompson. I've been visiting him every day since his heart attack. He's an old friend of my father's, and I've never seen him calm down like that. You have a gift." Elena felt herself blushing. "I was just doing my job." "No, that was more than a job. That was caring." He extended his hand. I'm Ryan, by the way. Ryan Mitchell. Elena shook his hand, noticing how warm and strong it was. Elena Johnson. Nice to meet you. Elena, he repeated as if testing how her name sounded. Beautiful name. There was something in his tone that made Elena's heart skip a beat, and that scared her. She wasn't supposed to notice attractive men. She wasn't supposed to feel butterflies in her stomach when a stranger complimented her. Well, I should get back to work, she said quickly, taking a step toward the nurse's station. Of course. Maybe I'll see you around. I'll be visiting Mr. Thompson for the next few days. Elena nodded and walked away, but she could feel Ryan's eyes on her. When she reached the nurse's station, she risked a glance back. He was still watching her, and when their eyes met, he smiled. The rest of Elena's shift passed in a blur. She kept finding herself thinking about Ryan, his kind eyes, his warm smile, the way he had noticed her compassion for Mr. Thompson. It had been so long since a man had looked at her with anything other than judgment or indifference. But as she drove to pick up Lily, Elena reminded herself why she couldn't afford to think about men. She had been down this road before. She had been fooled by charm and good looks and kind words. She couldn't risk Lily's heart again, and she couldn't risk her own. When she arrived at the daycare, Lily ran to her with a huge smile. Mama, I made a new friend. Her name is Sarah, and she likes purple too. That's wonderful, baby, Elena said, scooping Lily up for a hug. Did you have a good day? The best day. Can we have pizza for dinner? We'll see, Elena laughed. Tell me more about Sarah. As they drove home, Lily chattered about her new friend, her new teacher, and the art project she had made. Elena listened with half her attention, but part of her mind was still thinking about the man at the hospital. Ryan Mitchell. She had heard that name somewhere before. When they got home, Elena looked him up on her phone while Lily played with her toys. What she found surprised her. Ryan Mitchell was the CEO of Mitchell Enterprises, a successful company that owned several hotels and restaurants in the city. He was worth millions of dollars. The articles she found described him as a successful businessman and eligible bachelor. Elena stared at his photo on her phone screen. What was a millionaire doing visiting an elderly patient at a public hospital? Most wealthy people went to private facilities. And why had he bothered talking to a nurse? More importantly, why was she even wondering about it? Elena put her phone away and focused on making dinner with Lily. She couldn't afford to think about Ryan Mitchell and his kind eyes and warm smile. She had more important things to worry about, like building a stable life for herself and her daughter. But that night, as she lay in bed, Elena found herself wondering what it would be like to trust someone again. What it would be like to believe that someone could love her and Lily without wanting to change them or leave them. She pushed the thoughts away. Dreams like that were dangerous for women like her. But sometimes, the heart wants what it wants, regardless of what the mind thinks is safe. 3 days later, Elena was rushing through the hospital parking lot when she heard Lily scream. It was the kind of scream that stops a mother's heart, pure terror and pain combined. Elena dropped her purse and ran toward the small playground area near the hospital's family center, where she had left Lily with Mrs. Garcia, the elderly woman who sometimes watched children for hospital staff. She found Lily on the ground next to the swing set, crying hysterically while Mrs. Garcia knelt beside her looking panicked. What happened? Elena demanded, dropping to her knees next to her daughter. She was swinging so high, Mrs. Garcia said, her voice shaking. The chain must have been loose. She fell backward and hit her head on the ground. Elena's nurse training kicked in immediately. She gently examined Lily's head, feeling for bumps or cuts. There was a small cut on the back of Lily's scalp that was bleeding, and a large bump was already forming. Baby, can you tell me where it hurts? Elena asked, trying to keep her voice calm even though her heart was racing. My head, Mama, Lily sobbed. It hurts so bad. Elena scooped Lily up carefully. Head injuries in children were nothing to mess around with. She needed to get Lily to the emergency room immediately. Mrs. Garcia, can you get my purse? Elena called over her shoulder as she hurried toward the hospital entrance. The emergency room was busy, but Elena's hospital ID got them seen quickly. She explained what had happened to the triage nurse, who immediately took them to an examination room. Dr. Peterson will be right in, the nurse said. Try to keep her awake and alert. Elena sat on the examination table with Lily in her lap, gently stroking her daughter's hair and trying not to panic. Lily's crying had quieted to soft whimpers, but she was pale and seemed disoriented. Mama, I'm sleepy, Lily murmured. I know, baby, but try to stay awake for me. Can you tell me what color your dress is? Purple, Lily said weakly. That's right. And what's your favorite animal? Elephants. Elena was relieved that Lily could answer simple questions, but she was still worried. Head injuries could be tricky, especially in young children. The door opened, and Elena looked up expecting to see Dr. Peterson. Instead, she saw Ryan Mitchell. "I'm sorry," he said quickly, realizing he had walked into the wrong room. "I was looking for Dash." He stopped when he saw Elena. "Elena? What happened?" "My daughter fell at the playground," Elena said, her voice tight with worry. "She hit her head." Ryan's expression immediately shifted to concern. "Is she okay?" "We're waiting for the doctor." Ryan looked at Lily, who was watching him with curious eyes despite her injury. "And you must be Elena's daughter." "I'm Ryan." "I'm Lily," she said quietly. "I'm 5. 5 is a very important age," Ryan said seriously, moving closer to them. "That's when you start to learn the really important stuff." "Like what?" Lily asked, momentarily distracted from her pain. "Like how to make the best chocolate chip cookies. And how to build the perfect blanket fort. And how to make friends with dogs." Lily giggled softly, and Elena felt some of her tension ease. There was something about Ryan's presence that was calming. "Do you know how to make chocolate chip cookies?" Lily asked. "I do, but I bet your mom makes better ones than me." "Mama makes the best cookies in the whole world," Lily agreed. The door opened again, and this time Dr. Peterson came in. Elena had worked with him before and trusted his expertise. "What do we have here?" he asked, washing his hands. Elena explained what had happened while Dr. Peterson examined Lily. He checked her pupils, tested her reflexes, and gently felt the bump on her head. "The cut is superficial," he said finally. "But I want to do a CT scan to make sure there's no internal bleeding or swelling. It's just a precaution." Elena's stomach dropped. CT scans were expensive, and she wasn't sure her insurance would cover it immediately. She was still dealing with the financial aftermath of her divorce. "Is it absolutely necessary?" she asked quietly. Dr. Peterson's expression softened. He understood the implications of her question. With head injuries in children, it's always better to be safe. "Let me see what I can do about the cost." Elena felt tears of frustration prick her eyes. Here she was, a nurse in a hospital, and she couldn't afford proper medical care for her own daughter. "Excuse me," Ryan said quietly. "I couldn't help but overhear. I'd like to cover the cost of any tests or treatment Lily needs." Elena stared at him in shock. "I can't let you do that." "Why not?" "Because I don't even know you. Because it's too much. Because Dash. Because you're too proud to accept help?" Ryan asked gently. "There's nothing wrong with letting someone help when your child needs medical care." Elena looked down at Lily, who was watching the conversation with interest. Her daughter's health was more important than her pride. "I'll pay you back," she said quietly. "We can discuss that later," Ryan said. "Right now, let's just focus on making sure Lily is okay." Dr. Peterson smiled. "I'll get the CT scan scheduled right away." An hour later, Elena sat in the waiting room with Ryan while Lily had her scan. The radiology tech had assured them that children did well with CT scans, but Elena was still nervous. "Thank you," she said to Ryan. "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't need to repay me," he said. "But you could let me buy you and Lily dinner sometime." Elena looked at him suspiciously. "Why? Why what? Why are you being so nice to us? What do you want?" Ryan was quiet for a moment. "Can I be honest with you?" Elena nodded. "I've been thinking about you since we met the other day, not just because you're beautiful though you are, but because of how you treated Mr. Thompson. You saw past his anger to his fear and you found a way to help him. That's rare. I was just doing my job." "No, you weren't. You were being human. You were showing compassion. In my experience, that's not something you see every day." Elena studied his face, looking for signs of deception or hidden motives. But all she saw was sincerity. "I have a lot of baggage," she said finally. "A 5-year-old daughter, a messy divorce, financial problems. I'm not exactly a catch. From where I'm sitting, you look like exactly the kind of woman I've been hoping to meet." Before Elena could respond, Dr. Peterson appeared with a smile on his face. "Good news," he said. "The CT scan is completely normal. No bleeding, no swelling. Lily has a mild concussion, but she should be fine with rest and observation." Elena felt like she could breathe again. "Thank you so much. She needs to take it easy for the next few days, and you should wake her up every few hours tonight to check on her. But she's going to be fine." As they prepared to leave, Lily tugged on Ryan's sleeve. "Thank you for staying with us," she said solemnly. "Thank you for letting me," Ryan replied. Maybe next time we meet, it will be somewhere more fun than a hospital. Lily giggled. Like where? Like a park where the swings are safe. Or an ice cream shop. Or a zoo. I love the zoo, Lily exclaimed. Ryan looked at Elena. What do you say? Would you like to go to the zoo with me this weekend? If Lily is feeling better, of course. Elena hesitated. Everything in her experience told her to say no. To protect herself and Lily from potential heartbreak. But looking at her daughter's excited face and remembering how Ryan had stayed with them through the whole ordeal, she found herself nodding. Okay, she said. If Lily feels better, we can go to the zoo. Ryan's smile was brilliant. It's a date. As they walked to Elena's car, she wondered what she had just gotten herself into. She had sworn off men, sworn off dating, sworn off risking her heart again. But sometimes the best things in life come when you least expect them. And sometimes taking a chance is the only way to find out if dreams can come true. Saturday morning dawned bright and clear, and Lily woke up feeling much better. The bump on her head had gone down significantly, and she was back to her usual energetic self. Are we really going to the zoo today, Mama? She asked excitedly over breakfast. If you're feeling good, then yes, Elena replied, watching her daughter carefully for any signs of lingering effects from the concussion. I feel perfect. Can I wear my elephant shirt? Elena smiled. Of course you can. As she helped Lily get dressed, Elena found herself more nervous than she had been for anything in years. This wasn't just a casual outing, it felt like a test. Would Ryan still be interested in her when he saw what her real life was like? Would he get along with Lily? Would Lily like him? More importantly, was Elena ready to let someone new into their carefully guarded world? Ryan arrived right on time, driving a modest sedan instead of the expensive car Elena had expected. He was dressed casually in jeans and a polo shirt, and he carried a small backpack. Good morning, ladies, he said with a smile. Ready for some adventure? Lily practically bounced out the door. I'm ready. Are we going to see the elephants first? We can see whatever you want to see, Ryan said. But first, I brought something for you. He opened his backpack and pulled out a small stuffed elephant. I thought you might like a zoo buddy. Lily's eyes went wide. For me? For you. Elena watched as her daughter hugged the stuffed animal tightly. It was a simple gesture, but it showed that Ryan had been listening when Lily talked about loving elephants. That meant something. The drive to the zoo was filled with Lily's chatter from the back seat. She told Ryan about her new friend Sarah from daycare, her favorite books, and her plans to be a veterinarian when she grew up so she could take care of animals. That's a wonderful job, Ryan said. Animals are lucky to have people who care about them. Mama says I have a kind heart, Lily said proudly. Your mama is very smart, Ryan replied, catching Elena's eye in the rearview mirror. At the zoo, Ryan proved to be the perfect companion for a 5-year-old. He was patient when Lily wanted to spend 20 minutes watching the penguins swim. He was enthusiastic about reading every single information plaque. He even convinced Elena to ride the carousel with them, despite her protest that she was too old. Nobody is too old for carousels, he insisted, helping both Elena and Lily onto painted horses. Besides, Lily needs someone to ride next to her. Elena found herself laughing more than she had in months. There was something about Ryan's easy confidence and genuine interest in making Lily happy that broke down her defenses. During lunch at the zoo cafe, Lily was busy coloring on her kids' menu when Ryan turned to Elena. Can I ask you something personal? He said quietly. Elena tensed. What? What happened with Lily's father? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but I can see that you've been hurt. I want to understand. Elena was quiet for a long moment, watching Lily carefully color an elephant purple. He left us, she said finally. Actually, he told us we were worthless and then he left us. Ryan's jaw tightened. He said you were worthless? Among other things. Elena's voice was barely above a whisper. He said no other man would ever want us. That we were damaged goods. He was wrong, Ryan said firmly. Completely, absolutely wrong. Elena looked at him skeptically. How can you be so sure? You barely know us. I know enough, Ryan said. I know you're a dedicated mother who puts her daughter's needs first. I know you're a skilled nurse who goes above and beyond for her patients. I know you're strong enough to start over in a new city when you had to. And I know that any man who can't see how incredible you are is an idiot. Elena felt tears prick her eyes. It had been so long since anyone had said anything like that to her. Look, Mama. Lily interrupted, holding up her colored page. I made the elephant purple like my dress. It's beautiful, baby, Elena said, grateful for the interruption. After lunch, they visited the petting zoo, where Lily delighted in feeding goats and sheep. Ryan wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, and Elena watched with amazement as he patiently helped Lily overcome her initial fear of the larger animals. "He's not scary," Ryan told Lily as a particularly large goat approached them. "He just wants some food. Here, put the pellets in your flat hand like this." Lily followed his instructions and giggled when the goat's whiskers tickled her palm. "He likes me." "Of course he does," Ryan said. "You're very likable." Elena found herself studying Ryan throughout the day. She was looking for cracks in his facade, waiting for him to lose patience with Lily's endless questions or get bored with the slow pace of entertaining a 5-year-old. But it never happened. If anything, he seemed to genuinely enjoy Lily's company. As the afternoon wore on, Elena began to relax. For the first time in months, she wasn't constantly worried about money or her ex-husband or whether she was doing enough for Lily. She was just enjoying herself. As they walked through the butterfly garden, Lily running ahead to look at the colorful flowers, Ryan touched Elena's arm gently. "Thank you for giving me a chance," he said. "Thank you for being patient with us," Elena replied. "This is all new to me. Dating with a child, I'm not sure I know how to do it." "We'll figure it out together," Ryan said. "No pressure, no expectations. Just see what happens." A butterfly landed on Lily's shoulder, and she froze with excitement. "Mama, look." Elena and Ryan hurried over to see the bright orange and black butterfly perched on Lily's purple shirt. "It's beautiful," Elena whispered. "Just like its new friend," Ryan said softly, and Elena knew he wasn't talking about the butterfly. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in the back seat, clutching her new stuffed elephant. Elena watched her daughter's peaceful face in the side mirror. "She's amazing," Ryan said quietly. "You've done an incredible job raising her." "I've made a lot of mistakes," Elena admitted. "We all make mistakes. What matters is that she knows she's loved." Elena looked at Ryan's profile as he drove. "Can I ask you something personal now?" "Fair's fair. Why aren't you married? You're successful, you're good with kids, you seem normal. What's wrong with you?" Ryan laughed. "Wow, you don't pull punches, do you? I need to know what I'm getting into." Ryan was quiet for a moment. "I've been focused on work for the past few years. Building the business, taking care of my father before he died, dealing with my mother's expectations. I dated, but I never met anyone who made me want to change my priorities. And now," Ryan glanced at her. "Now I'm thinking maybe it's time to change my priorities." When they reached Elena's apartment, Ryan insisted on carrying the sleeping Lily inside. Elena watched as he gently laid her daughter on the couch and covered her with a blanket. "Thank you for today," Elena said as they stood by her front door. "Lily had the best time. What about you? Did you have a good time?" Elena smiled. "Yeah, I did. It was nice to feel normal for a while." "You are normal," Ryan said gently. "You're a woman who deserves to be happy." They stood there for a moment looking at each other. Elena felt a pull toward him, a desire to trust him completely. But the scared part of her heart held back. "I should let you go," she said finally. "Can I see you again? Both of you?" Elena hesitated. Every logical part of her brain said to be careful, to go slow, to protect herself and Lily. But her heart was saying something different. "Yes," she said quietly. "I'd like that." Ryan's smile was warm and genuine. "Good. I'll call you tomorrow." As Elena watched him drive away, she realized something had shifted inside her. For the first time since her divorce, she was allowing herself to hope. Maybe Jason had been wrong. Maybe she was worth loving after all. But she had no idea that someone was already plotting to destroy that hope before it could fully bloom. 3 weeks later, Elena found herself humming as she got ready for work. She and Ryan had been seeing each other regularly, and each time she was with him, she felt more like herself again. He had taken them to dinner at a family-friendly restaurant where Lily could color and be loud without bothering anyone. He had come to Lily's daycare play where she dressed up as a flower and forgot half her lines. He had even helped Elena grocery shop one Saturday, entertaining Lily in the cart while Elena focused on finding the best deals. What impressed Elena most was that Ryan never tried to rush things. He didn't push for alone time without Lily. He didn't pressure Elena for physical intimacy. He seemed to understand that winning her heart meant winning Lily's trust first. And Lily adored him. She had started asking when Mr. Ryan was coming over again and had begun including him in her bedtime prayers. "God bless Mama, and God bless Mr. Ryan, and God bless my elephant Stuffy." Elena was starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could be happy together. She was finishing her morning routine when her phone rang. The caller ID showed an unknown number. "Hello?" Elena answered. "Is this Elena Johnson?" The voice was crisp, professional, and cold. "Yes, who is this?" "My name is Victoria Mitchell. I believe you've been spending time with my son." Elena's stomach dropped. Ryan had mentioned his mother a few times, always with a slightly tense expression. He had said she could be difficult and set in her ways, but he hadn't gone into detail. "Yes, I've been seeing Ryan," Elena said carefully. "I see. Well, I think it's time we met. Are you free for lunch today?" It wasn't really a question. There was something in Victoria's tone that suggested this wasn't optional. "I have to work today," Elena said. "What time do you get off?" Elena hesitated. She didn't want to meet this woman, but she also didn't want to cause problems for Ryan. 4 o'clock. Perfect. There's a cafe called Lavender's on 5th Street. Do you know it? Elena knew it. It was an expensive place where a simple salad cost more than Elena usually spent on groceries for a whole day. "I'll find it," Elena said. "Wonderful. 4:30 then. Don't bring the child." The line went dead and Elena stared at her phone. Don't bring the child. Not don't bring Lily, or don't bring your daughter. The child. As if Lily was just an inconvenience to be dealt with. Elena's hands were shaking as she called Mrs. Garcia to ask if she could watch Lily for an extra hour after daycare. She had a feeling this meeting was going to change everything. Lavender's Cafe was exactly what Elena had expected, all white linens and crystal glasses and prices that made her wince. She felt underdressed in her work scrubs, even though she had tried to make herself look presentable. Victoria Mitchell was waiting at a corner table, and Elena recognized her immediately. She looked like an older, more polished version of Ryan, the same dark hair, now silver-streaked and pulled back in an elegant chignon, the same strong jawline but none of Ryan's warmth. She was wearing a suit that probably cost more than Elena made in a month, and her jewelry was understated but clearly expensive. "Elena, I presume?" Victoria stood as Elena approached, extending a perfectly manicured hand. "Yes, nice to meet you, Mrs. Mitchell. Please sit." Victoria's smile was polite but didn't reach her eyes. "I took the liberty of ordering you a tea. Earl Grey, I hope that's acceptable." Elena nodded, though she would have preferred coffee. She sat down and tried not to feel intimidated by the woman across from her. "So," Victoria said, getting straight to the point, "tell me about yourself." "I'm not sure what you want to know." "Everything. Your background, your education, your family. Your intentions regarding my son." Elena felt like she was being interviewed for a job she didn't want. "I'm a nurse. I graduated from State University with my RN degree. I have a 5-year-old daughter named Lily. I'm divorced." "Ah yes, the divorce. What went wrong with your marriage?" The question was like a slap. Elena felt her cheeks burn. "That's rather personal. My son's happiness is personal to me. I need to know what kind of woman he's getting involved with." Elena took a deep breath. "My ex-husband was unfaithful. He left us for another woman." "I see. And how much debt did you accumulate during the divorce?" Elena's mouth fell open. "Excuse me? Divorce can be expensive. Child support doesn't cover everything. A single mother's salary as a nurse? Well, it can't be easy to make ends meet." Elena realized where this was going. "If you're asking whether I'm after Ryan's money, the answer is no." Victoria's smile was sharp. "Of course you'd say that. They always do." "They?" "The women who target successful men. The ones who see dollar signs instead of a person." Elena felt anger rising in her chest. "I didn't target anyone. I met Ryan by accident at the hospital." "How convenient. A nurse meets a wealthy patient's visitor. Almost like a romantic movie, isn't it?" "It wasn't like that at all." Victoria leaned forward slightly. "Let me be frank with you, Elena. Ryan is worth $35 million. He owns properties in 3 states, has investments that most people couldn't even comprehend, and stands to inherit even more when I'm gone. Do you really expect me to believe that a divorced single mother with financial problems isn't interested in that security?" Elena stood up abruptly. "I don't have to listen to this." "Sit down," Victoria said sharply. "We're not finished." Something in her tone made Elena pause. There was a threat there, subtle but real. "What do you want from me?" Elena asked, sitting back down. "I want you to be realistic. Ryan is going through a phase right now. He thinks he wants to play house with you and your daughter, but that will get old quickly. Men like Ryan don't end up with women like you." "Women like me? Damaged goods. Used baggage." Victoria's words were like knives. You think this is love, but it's charity. Ryan feels sorry for you. Elena's hands were trembling now. These were the same words Jason had used, the same cruel assessment of her worth. That's not true, she whispered. Isn't it? Has he introduced you to his friends? His business associates? Has he taken you to any company events or social gatherings? Elena's silence was answer enough. Ryan had kept their relationship relatively private, though she had assumed it was because they were taking things slow. He's embarrassed by you, Victoria continued ruthlessly. He's having his fun, but when it comes time to get serious, he'll choose someone from his own world. Someone educated, sophisticated, wealthy. Someone without a child from another man. You don't know anything about our relationship, Elena said, but her voice lacked conviction. I know my son. I know he's 32 years old and has never brought a woman home to meet me. I know he's never talked about marriage or children. I know he's told you he needs to take things slow, which is what men say when they're not serious about a woman. Every word hit Elena like a physical blow because there was enough truth in them to sting. Ryan had said he wanted to take things slow. He hadn't introduced her to his friends. He had never mentioned the future beyond their next date. Even if you're right, Elena said quietly, even if this doesn't last, at least I'll have had something beautiful for a while. Victoria's expression softened slightly, but not with kindness. With pity? Oh my dear. You really don't understand, do you? This isn't just about you anymore. You have a daughter to think about. That little girl is getting attached to Ryan. What happens to her when he inevitably moves on? How will you explain to a 5-year-old that the man she started to see as a father figure was just temporary? Elena's blood ran cold. Lily had been getting attached to Ryan. She had started calling him almost daddy when she thought Elena wasn't listening. The thought of having to explain to Lily that Ryan was leaving them, just like her father had, made Elena feel sick. I can make this easy for you, Victoria continued. I'm prepared to offer you $50,000 to end this relationship cleanly. Tell Ryan you've realized you're not compatible. Move away if you have to, I can help you find a job in another city. But end it before my son gets in too deep and before your daughter gets more attached. Elena stared at her in shock. You're trying to buy me off? I'm trying to save everyone involved from a lot of unnecessary pain. Including you. Elena thought about her small apartment, her struggles to pay bills, her dreams of giving Lily a better life. $50,000 would solve all of their immediate problems. It would give them security, a fresh start, a chance to build a life without depending on anyone else. But it would also mean giving up on the first man who had made her feel worthy of love since her divorce. I need to think about it, Elena said quietly. Don't think too long. The longer this goes on, the more people get hurt. As Elena drove home, her mind was spinning. Was Victoria right? Was Ryan just feeling sorry for them? Was he embarrassed to be seen with a single mother from a working-class background? When she picked up Lily from daycare, her daughter was full of excited chatter about her day. But Elena barely heard her. She was thinking about Victoria's words, about the money, about the future. That evening, when Ryan called to ask about dinner plans for the weekend, Elena found herself analyzing every word he said, looking for signs that he was already pulling away. Is everything okay? He asked. You sound distant. I'm fine, Elena lied. Just tired. But she wasn't fine. For the first time since they'd started dating, Elena was wondering if she had made a terrible mistake in letting herself hope for love again. And that night, as she lay in bed listening to Lily sleep peacefully in the next room, Elena found herself seriously considering Victoria's offer. Maybe it would be better to end things now before Lily got any more attached. Before Elena fell any deeper. Before the inevitable heartbreak that seemed to follow her wherever she went. Maybe some dreams were just too dangerous to pursue. Despite Victoria's cruel words echoing in her head, Elena found herself unable to push Ryan away. Over the next few weeks, he continued to be everything she had hoped for in a partner, kind, patient, genuinely interested in both her and Lily's lives. He started showing up at the hospital during Elena's lunch breaks with coffee and sandwiches from a deli nearby. He never stayed long, just enough time to see how her day was going and make her smile. The other nurses began to tease Elena about her handsome visitor, and she found herself blushing like a teenager. He's got it bad for you, her colleague Sarah observed one afternoon after Ryan had left. I've seen a lot of men try to impress women, but that one looks at you like you hung the moon. Elena wanted to believe it, but Victoria's words kept creeping into her thoughts. Was Ryan really serious about her, or was this just a phase like his mother had said? Her doubts began to fade the evening Ryan showed up at her apartment with a toolbox and a determined expression. What's all this for? Elena asked, watching him survey her small living room. Lily mentioned that her bookshelf is wobbly, and I noticed your kitchen faucet drips. I thought I'd fix them if that's okay with you. Elena was touched by his thoughtfulness but also embarrassed. You don't need to do that. I can call the landlord. When was the last time your landlord fixed anything quickly? Ryan asked with a knowing smile. Elena had to admit he had a point. Her landlord was notorious for taking weeks to address maintenance issues. While Ryan worked on the bookshelf, Lily appointed herself his assistant, handing him tools and chattering about her day at school. Elena watched from the kitchen as the two of them worked together, Ryan patiently explaining what he was doing and why. Mr. Ryan, are you going to be my new daddy? Lily asked suddenly with the directness that only 5-year-olds possess. Elena froze, waiting for Ryan's response. This was the moment of truth. Would he panic? Make excuses? Explain that he was just a friend? Ryan set down his screwdriver and looked at Lily seriously. Would you like me to be? Yes. Lily said without hesitation. You're nice to Mama and you don't yell and you know how to fix things and you make the best pancakes. Ryan laughed. Well, those are important qualifications. But you know what? What? If I'm going to be your daddy, that means you'd be stuck with me forever. Even when I'm grumpy or when I make mistakes or when I sing off-key in the car. Are you sure you want that? Lily nodded vigorously. I'm sure. Are you sure you want me? I'm loud sometimes and I leave my toys everywhere and I cry when I watch sad movies. Those sound like perfectly normal little girl things to me, Ryan said gently. And yes, I'm very sure I want you. Both of you. Elena felt tears spring to her eyes. She had been so afraid of this conversation, but Ryan had handled it perfectly. He had been honest with Lily while still being age-appropriate, and he had made it clear that his feelings weren't casual. Later that evening, after Lily was asleep, Elena and Ryan sat on her small couch sharing a cup of tea. Thank you for what you said to Lily earlier, Elena said quietly. It meant a lot to her. To both of us. I meant every word, Ryan replied. Elena, I need you to know something. I'm falling in love with you. With both of you. This isn't some temporary thing for me. Elena's heart soared, but Victoria's warning still nagged at her. Your mother doesn't think so. Ryan frowned. My mother? What does she have to do with anything? Elena hesitated, then decided to be honest. She asked me to meet her for coffee last week. She offered me money to stop seeing you. Ryan's expression darkened. She did what? She thinks I'm after your money? She thinks you're just going through a phase and that I'm not suitable for someone like you. Ryan stood up abruptly and began pacing. I can't believe she did that. Elena, please tell me you don't believe anything she said. I don't know what to believe sometimes, Elena admitted. She pointed out that you've never introduced me to your friends, never taken me to any business events. Sometimes I wonder if maybe she's right, maybe you are embarrassed by me. Ryan stopped pacing and knelt in front of Elena, taking her hands in his. Look at me, he said firmly. I am not embarrassed by you. I'm proud to be with you. The reason I haven't introduced you to my business associates is because most of them are shallow, boring people who I only tolerate for work. I didn't want to subject you to that world until I was sure you wanted to be part of it. But your mother said dash. My mother has been trying to control my life since I was born. She's never approved of any woman I've dated because no one is good enough for her precious son. But you know what? I don't care what she thinks anymore. I care what you think. I care what Lily thinks. I care about building a life with you. Elena searched his face for any sign of deception, but all she saw was sincerity and love. I'm scared, she whispered. I've been hurt before. Lily's been hurt before. I don't know if I can survive it again. Then don't let it happen again, Ryan said simply. Trust me. Trust us. Give us a chance to show you what real love looks like. Elena felt the last of her walls crumbling. I love you too, she said quietly. I've been fighting it, but I do. I love you so much it terrifies me. Ryan's smile was radiant. He leaned forward and kissed her gently, and Elena felt like she was finally home. I want to ask you something, Ryan said when they broke apart. But I want to wait until the time is right. Until you're completely sure about us. Elena's heart skipped a beat. What do you want to ask me? I think you know, Ryan said with a smile. But I want to do it properly. For you and for Lily. That night, Elena lay in bed feeling happier than she had in years. Ryan loved her. He loved Lily. He was talking about a future together, about marriage, about becoming a real family. For the first time since her divorce, Elena allowed herself to dream about a wedding dress, about changing her last name, about giving Lily the stable, loving home she deserved. But she had no idea that Victoria Mitchell was far from finished with her interference. The older woman had been watching from the shadows, and she was preparing to escalate her campaign to destroy Elena and Ryan's relationship. Some battles for love are fought in the open. Others are fought in secret, with weapons designed to destroy from within. Elena's real test was still to come. 2 months later, on a crisp Saturday morning in November, Ryan arrived at Elena's apartment with an unusually nervous energy. He had been acting strange all week, distracted during phone calls, secretive about his plans, and oddly insistent that Elena and Lily keep their weekend free. "Are you feeling okay?" Elena asked as she let him in. "You seem jittery." "I'm fine," Ryan said quickly, then immediately contradicted himself by knocking over a small plant on her side table. "Sorry, I'm just excited about today." "What's so special about today?" Lily asked, bouncing over to give Ryan his usual hug. "Well," Ryan said, his voice slightly shaky, "I thought we could go somewhere special. Somewhere we've never been before." An hour later, they were driving through the countryside outside the city. Elena had no idea where they were going, and Ryan was being unusually tight-lipped about their destination. "Are we there yet?" Lily asked for the 10th time from the backseat. "Almost," Ryan replied, though Elena could see sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool weather. Finally, they turned down a long driveway that led to a beautiful park Elena had never seen before. It was clearly private property. There were no other cars, no other people, just rolling hills covered in autumn leaves and a small lake that reflected the cloudy sky. "Whose place is this?" Elena asked as they got out of the car. "A friend of mine owns it," Ryan said vaguely. "He said we could use it for the day." They walked down a path toward the lake, Lily running ahead to chase falling leaves. Elena noticed that Ryan kept checking his watch and looking around as if he was expecting something. "Ryan, what's going on?" Elena asked finally. "You're acting really strange." Before Ryan could answer, Lily called out from up ahead. "Mama, Mr. Ryan, come look at this." They hurried to catch up with her and found her standing next to a large oak tree. Hanging from one of the branches was a wooden sign that read, "Elena and Lily's special place." Elena looked at Ryan in confusion. "What is this?" "Keep walking," Ryan said softly, taking her hand. As they continued down the path, they found more signs. "Elena is the kindest person I know. Lily has the best laugh in the world. Some families are made by love, not just by blood." Elena's heart began to race. She was starting to understand what was happening, but she was afraid to believe it. The path led to a small clearing by the lake where someone had set up a beautiful picnic, a blanket spread with all of Lily's favorite foods, flowers scattered around, and twinkle lights strung between the trees even though it was still daylight. "Oh my goodness," Elena breathed. "Mr. Ryan, this is so pretty," Lily exclaimed, spinning around to take it all in. Ryan walked to the center of the clearing and turned to face them both. His hands were shaking as he reached into his jacket pocket. "Elena," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "6 months ago I was a different person. I was successful, I was comfortable, but I was lonely. I thought I had everything I needed, but I was wrong." Elena felt tears starting to form in her eyes. "Then I met you," Ryan continued. "And you showed me what it means to love someone completely, selflessly, with your whole heart. You showed me what it means to be a family." He turned to Lily. "And you, little one, you taught me that being a dad isn't about sharing DNA. It's about showing up every day, about bedtime stories and scraped knees and celebrating the little victories." Lily was watching with wide eyes, not fully understanding what was happening but sensing that it was important. Ryan got down on one knee and pulled out a small velvet box. "Elena Johnson, you are the strongest, most beautiful, most amazing woman I have ever known. You and Lily have made my life complete in ways I never thought possible." Elena was crying now, her hands pressed to her mouth. "Will you marry me?" Ryan asked. "Will you let me be your husband and Lily's dad? Will you let me love you both for the rest of my life?" Before Elena could answer, Lily burst out, "Yes. Yes. We want you to be our family." Elena laughed through her tears. "I think Lily answered for both of us." "Yes, Ryan. Yes, I'll marry you." Ryan's face broke into a huge grin as he slipped the ring onto Elena's finger. It was perfect, not too big or flashy but elegant and beautiful. Clearly chosen with care and love. But Ryan wasn't finished. He reached into his pocket again and pulled out a smaller box. "Lily," he said, turning to the little girl who was bouncing with excitement. "I have something for you too." He opened the box to reveal a small pendant necklace with a heart-shaped locket. "This is a special necklace," Ryan explained. Inside the locket is a picture of the three of us together. It's to remind you that no matter what happens, you will always be my daughter and I will always love you. Lily threw her arms around Ryan's neck. I love you too, Daddy. Elena's heart nearly burst hearing Lily call Ryan Daddy for the first time. This was everything she had dreamed of but never dared to hope for. As Ryan fastened the necklace around Lily's neck, Elena looked at the ring on her finger and felt overwhelmed with joy. She was engaged. She was going to marry this wonderful man who loved her daughter as much as he loved her. They spent the rest of the afternoon at the lake, eating their picnic and making plans for their future. Ryan had thought of everything. He had even brought a bottle of sparkling apple cider so Lily could toast with them. When are we going to have the wedding? Lily asked, already planning ahead. We haven't decided yet, Elena laughed. But you'll be the most important part of it, I promise. Can I wear a princess dress? The most beautiful princess dress we can find, Ryan assured her. As the sun began to set, they packed up their picnic and headed back to the car. Elena couldn't stop looking at her ring, and Lily couldn't stop touching her new necklace. How long have you been planning this? Elena asked Ryan as they drove home. About a month, he admitted. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted Lily to feel included, not like she was just watching from the sidelines. It was perfect, Elena said softly. Absolutely perfect. That evening, after they had put Lily to bed, she had insisted on wearing her new necklace to sleep. Elena and Ryan sat together on her couch, still marveling at the day's events. I can't believe we're engaged, Elena said, twisting her ring around her finger. Believe it, Ryan said, pulling her close. We're going to be a family. Officially. Elena snuggled against his chest, feeling safe and loved and hopeful about the future. But in the back of her mind, she couldn't help wondering how Victoria would react to the news of their engagement. She had a feeling the real battle was just beginning. The news of Ryan's engagement spread quickly through his social and business circles, and Victoria Mitchell's reaction was swift and vicious. Within a week of the proposal, Elena began to notice that her carefully constructed new life was starting to unravel. It started small. Elena arrived at work on Monday morning to find her supervisor, Mrs. Henderson, waiting for her with a concerned expression. Elena, I need to speak with you privately, Mrs. Henderson said, leading her into her office. Elena's stomach dropped. Is everything okay? I received a call over the weekend, Mrs. Henderson said carefully. Someone made some serious allegations about your past. About your previous job. What kind of allegations? They claimed you were fired from your last position for stealing medication. They said there were questions about your professional conduct. Elena stared at her supervisor in shock. That's not true. I've never stolen anything in my life. I left my last job because of my divorce because I needed to move. I believe you, Mrs. Henderson said quickly. Your work here has been exemplary. But I'm required to investigate any allegations of this nature. I'm going to need you to provide documentation from your previous employer, references, your official reason for leaving, anything that can help clear this up. Elena's hands were shaking as she left Mrs. Henderson's office. She had excellent references from her previous job, so she wasn't worried about proving her innocence. But she was terrified about who might have made such accusations and why. The answer came to her immediately, though she tried to push it away. Victoria Mitchell had the resources and connections to make Elena's life difficult. But would she really go that far? Elena's question was answered the next day when she received a call from Lily's daycare center. Ms. Johnson, we need to discuss some concerns that have been brought to our attention, the director, Mrs. Patterson, said in a formal tone that Elena had never heard before. What kind of concerns? Perhaps it would be better if we met in person. Can you come in this afternoon? Elena arranged to leave work early and drove to the daycare with her heart pounding. When she arrived, Mrs. Patterson led her into her office with a serious expression. Elena, someone contacted our licensing board about your family situation. They made claims about your fitness as a parent and suggested that we should be concerned about Lily's welfare. Elena felt like she had been punched in the stomach. What did they say? They claimed you were financially unstable, that you had a history of poor judgment in relationships, and that you were exposing Lily to potentially dangerous situations by dating a man she barely knew. That's ridiculous, Elena said, her voice rising. Lily has never been in any danger. Ryan has been nothing but kind and appropriate with her. I know, Mrs. Patterson said gently. Elena, I've watched you with Lily for months. You're a devoted mother, and Lily is a happy, well-adjusted child. But I'm required to document these allegations and respond to the licensing board. Elena felt her world spinning out of control. Someone was systematically attacking every aspect of her life, her job, her parenting, her reputation. And she knew exactly who was behind it. That evening, Elena waited until Lily was asleep before calling Ryan. She had been dreading this conversation all day. "Hey beautiful," Ryan answered, his voice warm and happy. "How was your day?" Elena took a deep breath. "Ryan, I need to tell you something. I think your mother is trying to sabotage our relationship." There was silence on the other end of the line. "What do you mean?" Ryan asked finally. Elena told him about the allegations at work and the call to Lily's daycare. With each detail, she could hear Ryan's breathing getting more labored. "I'm going to kill her," he said quietly when Elena finished. "Ryan, you need to talk to her. This has to stop. I can handle attacks on me, but when she starts going after Lily, when she tries to make people think I'm an unfit mother." Elena's voice broke. "Elena, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she would go this far." "I'm scared," Elena admitted. "What if she finds a way to make the allegations stick? What if I lose my job? What if someone believes her lies about my parenting?" "That's not going to happen," Ryan said firmly. "I won't let it happen." But Elena could hear the uncertainty in his voice. Victoria Mitchell was a powerful woman with money and connections. If she was determined to destroy Elena's life, she might just succeed. The attacks escalated over the next few days. Elena's car was vandalized in the hospital parking lot. Someone had keyed "Gold Digger" into the paint. She received anonymous letters at home with copies of tabloid articles about women who had tried to trap wealthy men. Her credit was mysteriously flagged for suspicious activity, freezing her bank account and requiring hours on the phone to resolve. Each incident was small enough to be dismissed as coincidence or random bad luck. But Elena knew better. This was psychological warfare, designed to wear her down and make her question whether loving Ryan was worth all the pain. The final straw came on Friday afternoon when Elena picked up Lily from daycare to find her daughter unusually quiet. "What's wrong, baby?" Elena asked as they drove home. "Sarah's mommy said I shouldn't be friends with Sarah anymore," Lily said in a small voice. Elena pulled over to the side of the road. "What? Why would she say that?" "She said you're a bad person and that bad people have bad children. She said Sarah might learn bad things from me." Elena felt rage building in her chest. Attacking her was one thing, but going after a 5-year-old child was crossing a line she couldn't forgive. "Lily, look at me," Elena said, turning in her seat to face her daughter. "You are not bad. You are good and kind and smart and wonderful. Some people say mean things when they're angry or scared, but that doesn't make those things true. But why would she say that about you, Mama? You're the best mama in the world." Elena's heart broke for her daughter's confusion and pain. This was exactly what she had been afraid of when she first started dating Ryan. She had known that loving him might mean exposing Lily to judgment and cruelty from people who thought they didn't belong in Ryan's world. But she had never imagined it would be this vicious. That night, after Lily was finally asleep, Elena sat at her kitchen table and stared at the engagement ring on her finger. It was beautiful, and it represented everything she had ever wanted. But was it worth this much pain? Was it worth the risk of Lily being hurt? Elena thought about Victoria's offer of $50,000 to disappear. At the time, it had seemed insulting and cruel. Now it was starting to look like mercy. Maybe Victoria was right. Maybe Elena was being selfish by pursuing this relationship. Maybe the kindest thing she could do for everyone involved was to walk away before more damage was done. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "Good night, beautiful. I love you. Tomorrow will be better, I promise." Elena stared at the message and felt tears sliding down her cheeks. She loved him so much, but love might not be enough to overcome the forces working against them. For the first time since she had said yes to his proposal, Elena began to seriously consider whether she should give him back his ring and disappear from his life forever. Some love stories have fairy tale endings. Others end in sacrifice, with one person walking away to protect the people they love most. Elena was beginning to wonder which kind of story hers would be. Elena had barely slept all weekend, wrestling with the decision that seemed to be tearing her apart from the inside. By Monday morning, she had dark circles under her eyes and a hollow feeling in her chest. She dropped Lily off at daycare with extra hugs and kisses, wondering if this might be one of their last normal mornings together. At work, Elena tried to focus on her patients, but her mind kept drifting to the impossible choice she was facing. Stay and fight for love, risking more attacks on herself and Lily, or leave and protect her daughter from further harm. Around noon, Mrs. Henderson approached Elena with a relieved smile. "Good news," she said. "I spoke with your former supervisor in Chicago. She had nothing but glowing things to say about you. She was shocked anyone would make such allegations and provided written documentation of your excellent service record. The matter is closed. Elena managed a weak smile. Thank you for believing in me. Of course. You're one of our best nurses. But even this small victory felt hollow. Elena knew Victoria would just find another way to attack her. She was proven right that afternoon when she received a call from her landlord. Elena, I'm sorry to do this on short notice, but I need you to move out by the end of the month, Mr. Davis said, his voice apologetic but firm. What? I've never been late with rent. I know, and you've been a good tenant. But I've received some concerning information about your lifestyle choices. I have other families in the building to think about. Elena's heart sank. What kind of information? Look, I don't want to get into details, but maybe it would be better if you found somewhere else to live. Somewhere more suitable for your situation. After hanging up, Elena sat in her car in the hospital parking lot and finally broke down. She sobbed until she had no tears left, feeling completely defeated. Victoria Mitchell was systematically destroying every aspect of her life, and Elena didn't know how to fight back. Her phone rang and she saw Ryan's name on the screen. She considered not answering, but she knew he would worry. Hey, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Elena? What's wrong? You sound terrible. My landlord just evicted me. Well, not technically evicted, but he wants me out by the end of the month. There was a long pause. I'm coming to get you. Ryan, I'm at work. I can't just leave. Then I'll wait in the parking lot until your shift ends. We need to talk. Elena found Ryan sitting in his car when she left the hospital at 4 o'clock. His face was grim and she could see the tension in his shoulders. He got out and pulled her into a tight hug without saying a word. I'm sorry, he murmured into her hair. I'm so sorry she's doing this to you. I can't do this anymore, Elena whispered against his chest. I can't keep letting Lily get hurt because of me. Ryan pulled back to look at her. What are you saying? Maybe your mother is right. Maybe we don't belong in your world. Maybe I should take her offer and disappear before this gets any worse. Elena, no. Don't let her win. This isn't about winning or losing, Ryan. This is about protecting my daughter. Lily came home crying on Friday because another mother told her child not to play with her. A 5-year-old is being punished because her mother dared to fall in love with someone out of her league. Ryan's jaw tightened. You are not out of my league. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. But your mother will never accept that. And she has the power to keep making our lives miserable until we give up or until she destroys us completely. They drove to pick up Lily in heavy silence. Elena's daughter was unusually quiet during the drive home, and Elena's heart ached thinking about how the stress was affecting her. That evening, while Elena helped Lily with her homework, she noticed her daughter's writing was messy and distracted. What's wrong, baby? Elena asked gently. Mrs. Sarah's mom was at school today, Lily said quietly. She was talking to my teacher about me. Elena's blood ran cold. What did she say? I don't know. But afterward Mrs. Johnson looked at me different. Like I did something bad. Elena felt her last reserve of strength crumble. It was one thing for adults to attack her, but when they started involving innocent children and turning teachers against Lily, she knew she had to do something drastic. After putting Lily to bed, Elena made a decision that broke her heart but felt necessary. She called Victoria Mitchell. I was wondering when you'd call, Victoria answered, her tone smug. You win, Elena said simply. But I want to meet with you first. Tonight. Of course. Same place as before. 1 hour. Elena arrived at Lavender's cafe to find Victoria waiting with a satisfied smile and an envelope on the table. I have to admit, you lasted longer than I expected, Victoria said as Elena sat down. Most women would have given up weeks ago. I'm not doing this for the money, Elena said quietly. I'm doing it to protect Lily. You can destroy me but leave my daughter alone. Children are resilient. She'll forget about Ryan soon enough. Elena's hands clenched into fists. She calls him daddy. She thinks he's going to adopt her. Do you understand what it's going to do to her when I have to explain that he's not coming back? For the first time, Victoria looked slightly uncomfortable. Children adapt. Like you adapted when your husband left you? Victoria's face went white. How dare you? I know about your first marriage, Elena said quietly. I know Ryan's father wasn't your first husband. I know you were a struggling single mother once too, before you married into money. Victoria's composure cracked slightly. That's different. Is it? Or are you so afraid that history will repeat itself that you're willing to destroy an innocent family to prevent it? Ryan is my son. I'm protecting him. From what? From love. From happiness? From a woman who would never hurt him. Victoria leaned forward, her eyes cold. From making the same mistake I did. From choosing love over security. From trusting someone who will eventually leave. Elena suddenly understood. Victoria wasn't just classist and cruel, she was terrified. She was projecting her own fears and past hurts onto Elena and Ryan's relationship. I'm not your first husband, Elena said gently. And Ryan isn't you. We love each other. Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't last when real life gets hard. You're wrong, Elena said. But I can see nothing I say will change your mind. Elena stood up and walked toward the door, but Victoria's voice stopped her. The money, Victoria called. You forgot your payment. Elena turned back. Keep it. Use it to buy yourself some therapy. You need it more than I do. As Elena drove home, she felt strangely calm. She had made her decision. She would break up with Ryan tomorrow, but she wouldn't take Victoria's money. She would do it on her own terms with her dignity intact. But when she arrived at her apartment, she found Lily awake and sitting by the window. Mama, is Daddy Ryan coming over tonight? Lily asked hopefully. Elena's resolve crumbled. How could she explain to this innocent child that their fairy tale was ending? How could she break Lily's heart to protect her from future pain? Not tonight, baby. Go back to bed. As Elena tucked Lily in, her daughter grabbed her hand. Mama, I heard you crying earlier. Are you sad because of the mean ladies? Elena's heart broke. What mean ladies? The ones who say bad things about us. But Daddy Ryan says mean people are just scared people, and we should feel sorry for them instead of being mad. Elena stared at her daughter. When did Ryan say that? Last week when that lady was mean to you at the store. He said sometimes people are mean because they're afraid of losing something they love. Elena's breath caught. Ryan had been protecting them from Victoria's attacks without her even knowing. He had been teaching Lily how to handle cruelty with grace and compassion. Mama, are you going to make Daddy Ryan go away? The question hit Elena like a physical blow. Why would you ask that? Because that's what happened with my other daddy. You were sad and then he went away and then you told me he wasn't coming back. Elena realized that in trying to protect Lily from potential heartbreak, she was about to create the very trauma she was trying to avoid. Lily, what if I told you that sometimes fighting for the people you love is more important than being safe? Lily considered this seriously. Like how you fight for me when people are mean? Exactly like that. Then I think we should fight for Daddy Ryan. Because he fights for us too. Elena hugged her daughter tightly, feeling a surge of determination she hadn't felt in weeks. Lily was right. Ryan had been fighting for them all along. It was time for Elena to fight back. Instead of giving up, Elena was going to do something Victoria Mitchell would never expect. She was going to fight for her family. The next morning, Elena woke up with a new sense of purpose. Instead of calling Ryan to break up with him, she called him to ask for a meeting with Victoria, but this time on Elena's terms. Are you sure about this? Ryan asked when Elena explained her plan. I'm sure. Your mother and I need to have an honest conversation, and you need to hear it. That evening, Elena arrived at Ryan's penthouse apartment, a beautiful space she had only visited once before. Victoria was already there, looking perfectly composed in an expensive suit. Elena, Victoria said coolly, I thought we had concluded our business last night. We did. But I have something to say to both of you. Elena took a deep breath and looked directly at Victoria. I know about your first marriage. I know you were 22 when you married Robert Chin, and I know he left you when Ryan was 2 years old. Victoria's face went pale, but Elena continued. I know you struggled as a single mother for 3 years before you met Ryan's adoptive father. I know what it feels like to be abandoned and afraid and worried about providing for your child. Ryan looked shocked. Mom, is this true? Victoria's composure finally cracked. That has nothing to do with this situation. It has everything to do with it, Elena said gently. You're not protecting Ryan from me. You're protecting yourself from reliving your own pain. You don't know what you're talking about, Victoria said, but her voice was shaking. I know that Robert told you that you weren't good enough for him. I know he said you were just a poor girl who had trapped him with a baby. I know he made you feel worthless before he left. Victoria's eyes filled with tears, though she tried to hide it. My ex-husband said the same things to me, Elena continued. He told me I was damaged goods. He said no other man would ever want me and Lily. For a long time I believed him. Ryan moved to stand beside Elena, taking her hand. But I was wrong to believe those lies, Elena said. Just like you were wrong to let Robert's cruelty shape how you see love. Not all men are like him, Victoria. Ryan isn't like him. How can you be so sure? Victoria whispered. Because when Lily got hurt, he stayed with us at the hospital for hours even though he barely knew us. Because when I told him about my past, he didn't judge me. Because when you tried to destroy our relationship, he chose us over keeping peace with you. Elena turned to Ryan. And I know because when he proposed, he included Lily. He didn't just ask me to marry him, he asked to be her father. That's not the behavior of a man who's going to abandon his family. Ryan squeezed Elena's hand, his eyes bright with unshed tears. Elena faced Victoria again. I understand why you're scared. I've been scared too. But you can't protect Ryan from all potential heartbreak, and you can't let your past pain rob him of future happiness. Victoria was crying openly now. I couldn't bear to watch him go through what I went through. Then don't make him go through it, Elena said softly. Don't be the one who breaks his heart by forcing him to choose between his mother and the woman he loves. Ryan stepped forward and pulled his mother into a hug. Mom, I love you. But Elena is right. You can't let your fear control my life. Victoria clung to her son, years of pain and terror finally surfacing. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I was so afraid of losing you. You're not going to lose me, Ryan said gently. But you have to trust me to make my own decisions. You have to trust that I know what's best for my life. Victoria pulled back and looked at Elena through her tears. I've been horrible to you. You've been protecting yourself the only way you knew how, Elena replied. But it's time to stop fighting and start healing. Victoria wiped her eyes and took a shaky breath. I made some calls. About your job, your housing situation. I can fix those things. I would appreciate that, Elena said. Not for me but for Lily. She shouldn't suffer because adults can't get along. Over the next hour, the three of them talked honestly for the first time. Victoria shared the story of her first marriage and the years of struggle that followed. Elena talked about her divorce and her fears about trusting again. Ryan spoke about his desire to build a family and his frustration with his mother's interference. I want to ask you something, Victoria said to Elena as the evening wound down. Okay. Would you be willing to start over? To let me try to be a better mother-in-law? Elena considered the question carefully. I'm willing to try if you are. But it has to be real, Victoria. No more games, no more tests, no more attempts to sabotage our relationship. No more games, Victoria agreed. I promise. 3 months later, Elena stood in front of a full-length mirror in a beautiful bridal suite, staring at herself in her wedding dress. It was simple but elegant, exactly what she had dreamed of but never thought she would have. Mama, you look like a real princess. Lily exclaimed from behind her. Elena turned to see her daughter in her flower girl dress, a purple creation that made Lily look like a little fairy. Around her neck, she wore the heart locket Ryan had given her. You look pretty beautiful yourself, flower girl, Elena said, adjusting Lily's small tiara. There was a knock on the door and Victoria entered carrying a small jewelry box. I have something for you, Victoria said, looking nervous. If you want it. Elena opened the box to find a delicate pearl necklace. It was my mother's, Victoria explained. And her mother's before that. I'd like you to have it. To wear today and to pass down to Lily someday. Elena felt tears prick her eyes. Victoria, are you sure? I'm sure. You're going to be my daughter now. Family shares their treasures. As Victoria fastened the necklace around Elena's neck, she whispered, I'm sorry it took me so long to see what Ryan saw in you. You're perfect for him. For both of them. Elena hugged her future mother-in-law, feeling the last of the walls between them finally crumble. A few minutes later, Elena walked down the aisle of the small chapel they had chosen, Lily skipping ahead of her scattering rose petals. The ceremony was intimate, just their closest friends and family, but it was perfect. Ryan stood at the altar in his black tuxedo, looking more handsome than Elena had ever seen him. When their eyes met, his face broke into a brilliant smile. But the moment that made Elena's heart soar was when the officiant asked if anyone had anything to say before the vows, and Lily stepped forward. I want to say something, she announced solemnly. The officiant smiled and handed her the microphone. Mr. Ryan, Lily said, looking directly at her soon-to-be father, thank you for loving my mama and for loving me. Thank you for staying when things got hard and for fixing my bookshelf and for making the best pancakes. I'm really happy you're going to be my daddy for real now. There wasn't a dry eye in the chapel. When Elena and Ryan exchanged vows, they promised not just to love each other, but to be a family, all three of them together. Ryan's vows to Lily were especially touching, as he promised to be the father she deserved and to love her as if she had always been his. During the reception, Elena watched Ryan dance with Lily to A Whole New World, both of them singing along off-key and laughing. She felt Victoria's presence beside her. "They're perfect together," Victoria observed. "Yes, they are. Elena, I owe you an apology. Not just for what I did to you but for what I almost cost Ryan. He's happier than I've ever seen him." Elena smiled. "We all make mistakes when we're scared. What matters is that we learn from them." As the evening wound down, Elena found herself alone with Ryan for a moment while Lily danced with Victoria. "So, Mrs. Mitchell," Ryan said, pulling her close, "how does it feel to be married?" "Perfect," Elena replied. "Absolutely perfect. Any regrets?" Elena looked across the room at Lily, who was now teaching Victoria some complicated dance moves she had learned at school. She thought about their journey, the pain, the fear, the obstacles they had overcome. "No regrets," she said firmly. "Not a single one." Ryan spun her around and Elena laughed with pure joy. A year ago, she had been broken and afraid, convinced that she would never find love again. Now she was married to the man of her dreams, Lily had the father she deserved, and even Victoria was becoming the mother-in-law Elena had never dared to hope for. Sometimes the best love stories are the ones that almost don't happen. The ones where people have to fight through fear and pain and misunderstanding to find their way to each other. Sometimes the greatest happy endings are the ones that seemed impossible until the very last moment. As Elena danced with her husband while their daughter laughed with joy nearby, she knew that their story was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, as there are in any marriage and any family. But they would face them together, with love and commitment and the unshakable knowledge that they had fought for each other and won. Love had triumphed. Family had been restored. And three hearts that had been broken in different ways had found their way to wholeness together. It was, Elena thought as Ryan dipped her low and kissed her while Lily cheered, the perfect ending to their fairy tale. But more importantly, it was the perfect beginning to the rest of their lives.